This is a Monday.com ad. The same Monday.com designed for every team. The same Monday.com with built-in AI, scaling your work from day one. The same Monday.com with an easy and intuitive setup. Go to Monday.com and try it for free.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. The Masters is on in the background. It started up. It is Masters Week here in the nation, the greatest week. Well, I mean, Holy Week, I guess, is pretty awesome, but in any event, life is back to normal. The phone number here, 877-973-7425. Prayers appreciated. Got one kid just come out of surgery, successfully removing 3 wisdom teeth. One was pretty problematic. Hopefully he'll be recovered, go to the Masters on Friday. The other one should be landing any moment in Vienna, Austria, not South Georgia, Vienna. In South Georgia, for those of you not listening in Georgia, there is a Vienna, Georgia, but it is pronounced Vienna, Georgia. There's also a Cairo, Georgia, but it's pronounced Cairo, Georgia, and on it goes. Now, we have to begin with the accumulation of all things. All of the news could make a movie out of that rescue. I want to begin this hour as we reset into the headlines over the weekend and the like, and I just want to submit to you one thing. America is awesome. A lot of people talk down this country now. A lot of people are rooting against this country. A lot of people in this country are rooting against this country. A lot of Democrats are showing they don't love the country unless they're in charge of the country. It is remarkable, the derision, the aggravation, the hatred, the antagonism, the talking down of this country. I want to put all of this in perspective for you. This weekend, you really could make a movie out of this. 2 pilots were shot down on Good Friday. One quickly recovered. The other recovered on Easter Sunday. The pilot who was recovered on Easter Sunday, his words ejecting the plane were "God is good" on Good Friday and recovered on Easter Sunday. Someone will do a movie probably starring Chris Pratt or somebody like that as the pilot. During the Bosnian situation, there was a great movie made with Owen Wilson about the recovery of that pilot. This is a good movie, very entertaining. The pilot hiked a very long time over a 24-hour period, climbed a 7,000-foot mountain and hit in a crevice. We built a runway on a farm, landed 2 C-130s, a helicopter. We ran to get the guy, and then we blew up the plane so the Iranians couldn't get their hands on our planes. They got stuck in the sand, all to save one man. The rest of the world is scratching their head at this. Why would the Americans blow up planes they couldn't salvage to rescue one guy? It's what makes the United States unique. You talk to the Japanese who are familiar with the history of World War II, and they will tell you that in World War II, it was demoralizing to the Japanese to see Americans land planes and helicopters on battlefields in the middle of action with rescuers getting shot to rescue wounded Americans and take them off the battlefield, because the Imperial Japanese would leave their wounded to die in the field. They saw them as waste. The Germans began to do the same thing, and the Americans would always rescue. And they would rescue, and they would get criticized and mocked by the British, by the French, by the Germans, by the Russians, by the Japanese, by the Germans, by the Italians. The Americans always saved their own. And in this case, we did it again. And there was derision, there was scoffing, there was mocking, there were lies, and yet we saved the American pilot because we are an awesome nation. And while we were saving the American pilot, in the same theater of action, we launched a strike on the Iranians and we killed another of their 15 top leaders. So we were saving an American pilot while also blowing up Iranian leaders. And by the way, how we saved the pilot, in addition to take landing planes in the desert in Iran, not too far from Isfahan, where there's a major military presence and nuclear reactor, and we saved the pilot, we leaked via the CIA that we were going to do it by a ground invasion from the beach. So the Iranians diverted their military to the beach to forestall the ground invasion coming from the water, and they didn't have people in the area. And then on top of that, when word came that the Americans had made it to the area to rescue their pilot, the Iranian people took to the streets. There was a reward out for this pilot, and the Iranian people took to the streets claiming they were in search of the reward, and they blocked the Iranian military from being able to pass on the roads to save our pilot. The Iranian people took to the streets to help us. The Israelis controlled the skies. The Israelis were shooting down and killing anyone who came within a couple miles of where the pilot was, while our soldiers were en route to get the pilot. We rescued the pilot. We blew up some planes, and the rest of the world's like, I can't believe you blew up planes to save one guy. Yes, it's what makes America unique. And while we were orchestrating all of this, we killed 15 more of Iran's top leadership in Tehran and blew up another weapons depot that continued to explode for over an hour after our first hit. And while we were doing all of that, we were preparing 4 astronauts to go around the dark side of the moon. As I speak to you right now, our astronauts are about 254,000 miles from us, heading to the dark side of the moon. We are an awesome nation. We really are. The things that we can do that no one else can do. The British, the shadow minister. So let me explain this. For those of you who don't know, in Great Britain, they have the cabinet and the shadow cabinet. So the opposition has essentially competing members. So if you have a defense minister, you have a shadow defense minister for the opposition. The conservative shadow minister for Great Britain was asked about this weekend, and he said that the British don't actually have the strategic capabilities to do what we did to rescue our pilot. The British strategy is to call the Americans. That's the British strategy, call the Americans. The Australians said pretty much the same thing. No other country can do this. The Chinese can't do it. The Russians can't do it. Only the United States has the capability and capacity to be able to do what we did, and we did it. And while we did it, we as a nation were capable of doing incredible multitasking, such that we were also able to fly a spaceship around to the dark side of the moon, launch it from Earth, all these things. Did you know the Chinese launched a rocket on Good Friday and it fell out of the sky? That's why they didn't do a live broadcast like we did for Artemis. The reality is we are a great nation, and there are a lot of people who wish to be ashamed of this nation, who wish to criticize this nation, who wish to attack this nation, who wish to badmouth this nation. Joe Kent, the president's former director of counterterrorism this weekend, was retweeting Iranian propaganda claiming that we were trying to kill our pilot. Not that we were trying to find our pilot, but that we were trying to kill our pilot, lest he fall into enemy hands. Meanwhile, we were out there saving. And you know, what's so interesting to me is there are a lot of people who are convinced that we were actually engaged in something else and the recovery of the pilot was the ruse, because who on earth would try to recover a pilot and in the process blow up a bunch of planes? Only 2. We've got about 600 of them left. There are so many people who don't understand what it means to be an American. This is kind of a separation point here. If you can't understand why the United States would do that, you really shouldn't be an American. And yet there are people out there who simply refuse to understand that the United States would do this. Again, if you cannot understand why the United States would be willing to risk everything to save a single pilot, you do not deserve to be an American citizen. You should not be an American citizen. You should not hope to ever become an American citizen, because you do not understand the nature of the United States of America and its people. It was a phenomenal thing that happened. It is wild to me to see so many members of the Democratic Party out there attacking it all. Do you know of the 47 United States senators who are Democrats, only 4 spoke up in praise of the American military? You got that? Let me repeat this fact for you. True fact. Of the 47 Democrats in the United States Senate, only 4 of them were willing to, as I hold up 3 fingers, 4 of them were willing to say anything in support of the military operation. The rest are just bad-mouthing the president of the United States. I'm trying to find the a piece of audio here that I want you to hear. It is from Frank McKenzie, who was asked about this. This may not be the... Now I'm going to have to find the clip from McKenzie. Yes, yeah, here we go. This is Frank McKenzie. He was on Face the Nation. You got to hear this clip.
So it took just under 48 hours to find the missing weapons systems officer after the jet they were in went down in a remote and mountainous area of southwestern Iran. The weapons officer was hiding in a mountainous crevice, we're told by a senior administration official. What's your assessment of how the search and rescue operation went?
So I think I'd draw 2 lessons from it, Ed. First of all, the excellence of the joint force, our ability to rapidly pivot to look for a downed air crewman. We train for this endlessly. It's a part of every time we send air crew over enemy territory. We have detailed, elaborate plans to go get them. It's a very basic part of who we are as American fighting men and women. So that plan swung into action. I think it was executed pretty effectively. As always, you've got somebody on the ground, maybe injured. They got to get to a position where they can hide until you can get to them. All that seemed to work out very well. And, you know, we did, in fact, lose a couple of aircraft in that mission. But I would just tell you, it takes a year to build an aircraft. It takes 200 years to build a military tradition where you don't leave anybody behind. You take the aircraft trade any day in a situation like this. The other lesson, I think, is a hard lesson for Iran. First of all, they were not able to find the missing air crewman. Second, you know, they put out a broad appeal to their people to turn him in, reward, asking for all kinds of leads. That does not appear to have been successful. And I think that's maybe a sign of disaffection. Don't know. But you can't be happy with that if you're a senior leader in Tehran this morning.
Now, not only that, let me play you this from Trey Inks from Fox News. This literally just hit the wire a few moments ago, setting the stage for this entire rescue operation. This is Trey Inks from Fox.
Yeah, Harris, good morning. High-ranking U.S. sources telling Fox News that while that rescue was ongoing over the weekend, that CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper directed a strike against an IRGC underground headquarters outside of the Iranian capital of Tehran. Fox News has learned that B-2 bombers were used during this strike, along with massive ordnance penetrators, bunker buster bombs, to target this facility, the same weapons used in Operation Midnight Hammer. And I am told by these high-ranking U.S. sources that the headquarters of the IRGC was obliterated in that strike. This is significant because it speaks to the intelligence and military excellence of the U.S. military. As this rescue was ongoing, they were hammering the Iranian regime just outside the capital of Tehran with B-2 bombers overhead, U.S. Special Forces on the ground, more than 100 of them, rescuing that airman and bringing the fight to the IRGC just outside of the Iranian capital. Harris?
Talked about the fact that there were 2 pilots who were rescued very much. What do we know about that part of the mission?
Absolutely. We understand that on Friday, the pilot of the F-15 that was shot down on Thursday night was rescued, and then it wasn't until about 48 hours later that the other rescue took place. And again, Fox News can report that on Saturday morning, the CIA was able to confirm the location and the identity of that airman, to confirm that this was not an Iranian trap, at which point the message was delivered to the Secretary of War, the Joint Chiefs Chairman, and ultimately the President. I'm told at that point, President Trump ordered the operation, and within 12 hours, there were U.S. boots on the ground inside of Iran.
That's remarkable. That level of coordination, that level of penetration, that level of intelligence gathering, that level of leaking and disseminating false information, that level of attacking the IRGC command while all of this is going on, taking out 15 more Iranian top generals and leaders. All of this while we've got 4 astronauts circling the moon. All of this, while we've got everything else going on in the world, no other nation can pull this off. Empire is good, actually. The United States as a force for good of the world is fantastic. And republics can have empires, and we do, and we should take ownership of it, and we should be proud of it. We should be proud of our ability to project our power, not only around the world, but all the way to our moon. And it is ours. We're the only ones who've ever been there. That means that we're the indigenous people. The United States is a phenomenal nation. And just be appalled at the number of people inside our own country who wish to speak poorly of it, in large part because they do not now control it. If the Biden administration or the Obama administration pulled this off, I would be praising it. How do I know? Because I praised Obama when we were able to go in and take out Osama bin Laden. What is so notable is how many people on the left cannot praise something like this because they're not in charge of the United States right now. They only like it when they control it, and that doesn't mean they actually like it. That means they like themselves. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here, and you can be a part of the program, 877-973-7425, should you wish to be on the program. A housekeeping note of sorts for those of you who are into these sorts of things, as my son and I are. Dune 3 is going to be shown in 70mm IMAX, and tickets have gone on sale as of 27 minutes ago, and they're already selling out fast, and it's not even going to drop until December 18th in IMAX. I went on, my son texted me, my son recovering from the anesthesia from his surgery, and his first text to me is, "Dad, will you get tickets?" How can I tell him no? And so he sent me the list. There's one in Atlanta, the Mall of Georgia, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from us, and so we'll go that Saturday. But there are locations around the country, the 70mm IMAXs. So keep that in mind, folks. If you want to go see Dune 3, the best possible showing, it's time to get your tickets before they sell out. Now, I got an important message from Renai, and they sent me a note, and now I got to pull up the email. Here it is. I need your attention, please. This is actually a really big deal because you can get a $500 rebate from Renai. You've heard me talk about them. Now's the time to act. Renai joined as an advertiser this year. They're offering a $500 rebate to you guys when you install a Renai tankless water heater. Only for you guys, my audience. It's homeowners only. You got to purchase and install by June 30th. The process is simple. Go to talkingtankless.com, click on the consumer rebate button at the top of the page. That'll take you to the Renai rebate page. You'll have to put in some very basic information for access and then search for the Eric Erickson consumer rebate. The passcode is ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, to access the rebate. You've got to install it by June 30th to get your $500 rebate. TalkingTankless.com. You can even locate a trained plumber to schedule the installation. Do your family a favor. Go to TalkingTankless.com. Learn how you can enjoy it. Remember, the passcode to get into the consumer rebate is my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Get a $500 rebate. Install by June 30th. Get your own Renai tankless water heater and save some money in the process. There's Rory McIlroy walking out onto the practice range at Augusta National. What a beautiful place that is. Yes, I got the Masters on. It's that week, folks. You just embrace it. Embrace it. We got to talk about the tweet or the Truth Social post. I'll go with the I'll call it a tweet. It was a social media post to the president. You know which one. Praise be to Allah. But first, I got to tell you about Vision Computers. They would love to have your business and love to build you a computer. And, you know, if you build a computer with Vision, their world-class customer service comes with it. You get the special phone number where you can call them 15 seconds or less. They can diagnose any problems, help you with stuff if you can't figure something out. Faster than a Google search, they get to help you. You go to visioncomputers.com or you call them at 404-COMPUTE. You tell them Eric sent you. You might save even more money. Now, listen, this is also very important. If you are a business anywhere in the country They can build you the computers and their customer service comes with them, but also you can get the customer service per computer for your employees so that they have this number and they're not dealing with an AI chatbot. They're dealing with an actual human being who can help them with their problems, help them with email support, printer support. You can get this for yourself as well. Anybody nationwide, any company nationwide can do this. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com. Give Vision Computers a call. Tell them that I sent you and let them build you the computer of your dreams or take care of your office so that you don't have to worry about AI chatbots and, well, guys who just can't do what they're capable of doing. VisionComputers.com, 404-COMPUTE. Okay, listen. Here is the president's tweet. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapping up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy B word, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. The President of the United States, as I am talking to you, is on the balcony at the White House with an Easter bunny, going on a tirade about Iran, has used some profanity, so we can't air it, and he's actually addressing kids who are there for the Easter egg roll. I will tell you, I'm very disappointed the president used effing with the apostrophe instead of with the G at the end, as in prior presidential communications. Very informal of the president to say the F word with an I and apostrophe at the end instead of a G. Sorry, what do you say? No, it's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. It actually makes him look desperate. That may be part of his strategy to make himself sound unhinged, to try to scare the Iranians into doing something. There are people who will justify it. On Easter Sunday, to end it with praise be to Allah, the president, by the way, on his Easter post painted posted a picture of a woman painting a picture of Jesus and didn't actually comment on the underlying subject or the resurrection or anything else, just that she was doing a good job with the painting. I actually have a real problem with the president's tweet. The language the president is using this morning on the balcony, it does make him sound frustrated and desperate, and the Iranians probably can look at that and say, well, we've got him backed in a corner or something like that. Maybe he's trying to do it as a way to incentivize the Iranians to think, oh, we're dealing with a crazy person, we better fold. They've rejected his peace offer, by the way. The Iranian response, by the way, is, quote, this low level of civility and intelligence shown by a leader of a country is regrettable. The shameful fervor with which intentions to commit war crimes are repeated is staggering. And the fact that the divine is invoked regardless of ill intentions clearly exposes deep fanaticism. Apologies for sharing this language. That was the Iranian response. Now, having said that, I'm absolutely going to engage in a what about. Because the choices in November of 2024 were Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, and you will recall the Biden-Harris administration used Easter as Trans Appreciation Day and turned Easter into a transgender celebration. So if I got to pick, and by the way, Americans had to pick, do you want the Republicans or the Democrats? I would rather go with the crazy tweeter than the people who platform transgenderism on Easter Sunday at the White House. You can scream whataboutism all you want, but those were the choices in November of 2024, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. You could have opted out. But, you know, I opted out in 2016, and people say, oh, you're supporting Hillary Clinton. It actually got Donald Trump elected, I guess. I'd never support Hillary Clinton. Nonetheless, I opted out in 2016, and you know what? It was a Republican or a Democrat who was going to get elected, and it was the Republican. In 2020, I supported Trump, and the Democrats got elected. In 24, I supported Trump, and Trump got elected. It's going to be a Democrat or it's going to be a Republican, and I'm not going to sit on the sidelines when the country's at stake. And if the choice is between a guy who used the F word with an apostrophe at the end instead of the G and praised Allah on Easter Sunday in a mean tweet to Iran, or the people who platform transgenderism on Easter Sunday at the White House, the choice is pretty clear whether you like it or not. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party are the ones out there rooting against the country. I want to say again, there are 47 members of the United States Senate who are Democrats, and only 4 of them even praised the military for the successful rescue of one of their own. Some of the Democrats are actually spreading conspiracy theories that we were actually on a failed raid to recover nuclear material from Iran. The Democrats and progressives, by the way, spent the weekend claiming Donald Trump was actually at the hospital. Progressive activists and reporters who are progressive activists claimed that Donald Trump was actually at Walter Reed Hospital. It wasn't true. It was very clear it wasn't true. There was a Marine standing out front of the West Wing, which only happens when the president's there. The president was actually in the White House, in the West Wing, overseeing the recovery effort, monitoring the recovery effort of this airman. And the Democrats lied and said that there was something wrong with him and he was in the hospital. And then when it came out that we had successfully rescued both airmen, they attacked Donald Trump. They couldn't even praise the military. That's how broken it is. This is Tim Kaine, who almost was the vice president of the United States. Thank God we were spared him.
That lacked a plan, and then we'll work with allies and others to figure out the situation in the Strait. Thank goodness the United States is less reliant on oil from the Middle East because we built up a strong domestic energy industry. The president shouldn't try to cripple the clean energy industry in the way that he's doing it. Let's focus on growing American energy, and I think when the war ends, you'll start to get the relief at the price tag, at the pump for Americans who are paying too much. The president promised to end foreign wars and bring down prices. He's initiating wars, raising prices, and now claiming he's got to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and other programs to fund his wars. That's not the way we ought to be going.
Yeah, that no praise whatsoever. By the way, I would have played the praise had Tim Kaine, instead he decided to attack the president of the war effort. It's not just him. I'm kind of baffled. This is David Brooks of on PBS. David Brooks used to write. He's now retired. New York Times. Listen to this.
Yeah, there's one of the disadvantages of having a huckster for president, that he can't tell the American people that when you're going to war, it's horrible. And that Iran is a serious country that's been preparing for this for nearly half a century, and they're going to fight back, and they're going to make counter moves like this or like the Straits of Hormuz. To me, what happened, I've been somewhat moderately hoping there'd be some positive outcome, and I think there has been some. We've had to go to the Middle East for almost every decade for the last 50 years because of radical Islam, which the Iranian regime typifies. But this is clearly the week when the costs of the war are so exponentially larger than the benefits of what we're getting in these marginal weeks. The cost to Russia is now getting all this revenue. Iran is getting all this revenue. The European economy and the world economies are in crisis. NATO is in shreds. And so the costs are just exorbitant now, not to mention the human suffering. And so if Trump doesn't see that we're losing, every day he continues this thing, he's going to just face more and more political problems, military problems, and all sorts of problems. We're losing. You got that? This is David Brooks, who was one of the conservative columnists of the New York Times. We're losing. This is Jake Auchincloss, one of the Kennedys now in Congress on CNN.
Iran is undeterred, and China is more powerful. Russia is richer. NATO is weaker, and Americans are less safe and more isolated. This has been Operation Epic Failure, and this president owns it in entirety. There have been presidents in the past, John, that have started wars that they've had to hand off to their successors. There have been presidents in the past that have had to end ingloriously wars that were not working. But Donald Trump is going to be the only president in American history to single-handedly start and lose a war.
You got that? You're going to single-handedly start and lose a war. This is the Democratic view here. And it's not anomalous. It is pervasive. And did you notice how David Brooks and Jake Auchincloss mimicked each other in their talking points? China's getting wealthy, Iran's getting wealthy, Russia's getting wealthy. That really is the talking point, is Iran is getting rich off this war. They're getting dead off the war, actually. But it's a coordinated talking point by the left. You hear it with David Brooks. You hear it with the Democrats. that they are coordinating this. And I want to play this exchange with Scott Jennings and a Democrat on CNN the other day.
Here, the irony in all of this is that Iran has shown its capabilities in two ways where the United States is unfortunately catching up. One is using cheap drones, which is they've been providing those to Russia to use in Ukraine, so they have lots of experiments with that. And the second is the meme war and internet propaganda, which is something actually the Iranians have been known for and influencing. And so they had, for all of our talk on our side of all the people killed in the regime, they have been pushing out through multiple channels around the world images of the American army generals and military people who have also lost their jobs at this time. So the way this looks out in the public is not a United States that is locked and loaded and working in one direction.
Do you think that the Iranians would rather have their entire Navy back or their memes?
I think when we're talking
we have
about
destroyed 13,000 military targets,
and this is a big distinction, is that we're fighting the war on their land, so they have a say. If they survive, that's a win for them.
Really? If they survive, that's a win for them. I do think this is why we need to engage in regime change, though. But it's wild to me that the Democrats are talking all this down. Now, credit where it's due. I do want to play this clip from Kristen Welker on Meet the Press as she started her show about the incredible operation.
Breaking news overnight. In an extraordinary turn of events, the United States has rescued the second crew member who was in the U.S. F-15 fighter jet shot down over Iran Friday. President Trump texting me directly this morning. The rescue was an Easter miracle. The enemy was large and violent. The rescuers were brilliant, strong, decisive, and as cool as anyone can be. The Iranians thought they had him, but it wasn't even close. And remember, we got two, but couldn't talk about the first, and that it would have highlighted that there was a second. Such a rescue has never happened before in so violent an enemy territory. It is usually not done because it is considered not doable. Such a great military like no other. Adding on Truth Social, open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell.
The president's tweet. At least she didn't say the F word. Again, the president's tweet is a bit of a distraction from everything that has happened. We took out 15 more of their top leaders. We were able to rescue 2 American pilots. The question is, where did the Iranians get the radar, tracking, and missile to shoot us down? It sounds like the Russians have been supplying them, and this should be something the president of the United States should pay attention to. How was Iran able to get the missiles and the radar to track our F-15 and get it shot down when we had otherwise had air supremacy over Iran? It sounds like the Russians have done it. Mr. President, not that you actually will pay attention to this, but Mr. President, you should not take a 45-day deal with Iran on a ceasefire, because Iran is clearly getting radar and weapons from either the Russians, the Chinese, or both, and we're able to use those to shoot down an F-15. We have air supremacy over Iran. If this goes for a 45-day peace, Iran is just going to stockpile more weapons, and it's going to be harder on us to destabilize the regime after 45 days. Continue as we are doing, bombing them. Take back the Strait of Hormuz with all force necessary to do so. Carpet bomb those islands if you have to. Wipe out Iranian control. Do not have a ceasefire with the Iranians. Take back the Strait of Hormuz yourself. Show a force in the Persian Gulf. Get rid of the mines. Get rid of the mine deployment forces. Get rid of the speedboats. Do what you have to do. Don't do a ceasefire with the Iranians. They were able to get in missiles and radar systems to shoot down an F-15 from someone somewhere. If you give them 45 days, they're going to rearm. It's what the Iranians do. You've done a good job so far, despite what the media would have everyone believe. Keep it up and blow them up. As we head into Masters Week this hour of the program is brought to you by Van Allen Golf, ALLEN, vanallengolf.com. Text the word golf to 33777. I'll send you a link to their website, or just go to vanallengolf.com or check them out, Van Allen Golf on Instagram. You can see the beauty of their putters. I did go play golf on Friday After church, it was fantastic, and I did actually staggeringly terrible, but I made some good putts with my Van Allen golf putter. Now, I have a note for you. I know many of you will be interested in this. NASA just released this. Starting at 1 p.m., their coverage of the lunar flyby begins. The lunar observation period, there'll be remarks from the crew at 2:10 p.m. Eastern, 2:45 p.m. The flyby of the moon begins. They set the distance record, or surpassed the distance record of Apollo 13 at 1:56 p.m., flying further past the moon than any ship, any manned crew. At 6:44 p.m., they will lose communication as they go behind the moon. I got chastised by Lister for calling it the dark side of the moon, which everybody knows what I'm talking about, but because there's light there, he's upset about it. On the spectrum, probably. I kid because I love. 7:02 p.m., they're going to get close to the moon. 7:07, reach maximum distance from Earth. 7:25. The signal should be reacquired. 8:35 p.m., the eclipse period begins with the moon eclipsing the sun. 9:20 p.m., lunar observation period concludes. 9:32 p.m., the solar eclipse period concludes. 9:45 p.m., NASA coverage concludes. You're going to be able to stream the lunar flyby on HBO Max, Netflix, YouTube, Peacock, Prime Video, and NASA's own streaming channel. Check this out. History in the making today. History in the making as Artemis 2 now flies further out from the Earth than anyone has ever flown before. Fascinating, fascinating stuff. Now, I got to move on. Before I do, I need to tell you about Old Glory Bank, my bank. They would love to be your bank as well. OldGloryBank.com/Eric is where you can go sign up with Old Glory Bank. I want to actually specifically talk to you about their online budgeting tools, particularly if you're interested in switching from your present bank. They have bill pay. They have great budgeting tools. They actually have a really phenomenal app that actually you can turn off your debit card. If you misplace it, you can turn it off without canceling it and then reactivate it if you find it, or order a new one if you don't. Their thoughtful software approach has been very, very great for a bank that is otherwise an online bank. You can even deposit cash at Old Glory Bank. So you get all the tools that you get from other banks you're thinking about, the bill pay, the budgeting tools, everything you need. OldGloryBank.com/Eric. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. Sign up with Old Glory Bank today for you. Get one for your kids, for your business. They got great business checking. I've got a checking and savings account. OldGloryBank.com/ERICK. Sign up with them today.